Imagine this. A 93-year-old woman in Okinawa, Japan, wakes up every single morning before the sun touches the horizon. She doesn't rush to check her phone. She doesn't gulp down coffee standing over a kitchen counter. She spends 5 quiet, deliberate minutes doing the same simple routine she's done for 60 years. Her joints don't ache the way her neighbors do. Her blood pressure reads like someone 20 years younger. Her doctor calls her a medical anomaly, but she isn't. She's proof of something researchers have been studying for decades, that how you spend the first 5 minutes of your morning may actually determine how many mornings you have left. Stay with me because what I'm about to share could genuinely change the trajectory of your health. Now, if you're over 60, you've probably heard 1,000 pieces of health advice. Eat this superfood, take that supplement, walk 10,000 steps, and honestly, most of it feels overwhelming. Who has the energy to overhaul an entire lifestyle? But here's what fascinates me about the research coming out of longevity science. It's not the grand gestures that seem to matter most. It's the small, consistent rituals, the things you do every single day without thinking, and morning routines sit right at the center of that conversation. Why morning specifically? Because your body wakes up in a vulnerable state. Cortisol, that's your stress hormone, spikes naturally between 6 and 8 a.m. Your blood is thicker after hours without water. Your joints are stiff, your blood sugar is low, and your cardiovascular system is recalibrating. What you do in those first few minutes either supports that transition or stresses it further. A study published in the European Heart Journal found that the majority of heart attacks occur in the early morning hours. Another study from the American Geriatric Society linked consistent morning routines with reduced fall risk in adults over 70. This isn't wellness fluff, this is biology. So let me walk you through a 5-minute morning routine broken into 5 one-minute segments that doctors and longevity researchers consistently recommend for people over 60. Minute 1. Before your feet touch the floor, breathe. Most people wake up and immediately swing their legs over the side of the bed. They stand, sometimes too fast, and for people over 60, that sudden shift from horizontal to vertical can cause something called orthostatic hypotension, a fancy term for a rapid drop in blood pressure that makes you dizzy, lightheaded, or in worst cases, causes a fall. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65 in the United States. The CDC reports that every single year, 3 million older adults end up in emergency rooms because of falls. Many of those happen in the first hour after waking, so here's what minute 1 looks like. You wake up, you stay lying down, you take 4 slow, deep breaths. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold gently for 4 counts. Exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. 4 breaths, that's all. What does this accomplish? It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the calming branch, and tells your body the day is beginning gently. It stabilizes your heart rate, it gives your blood pressure a moment to adjust, and it brings oxygen to your brain before you ask your legs to bear weight. 1 minute, 4 breaths. You've already reduced your fall risk and calmed your cardiovascular system. Minute 2, drink water. Not coffee, water. I know. Coffee feels non-negotiable, and I'm not asking you to give it up, but before that first sip of anything caffeinated, your body desperately needs plain water. Here's why. You've just spent 6, 7, maybe 8 hours without a single drop of fluid. Your blood has thickened overnight. For seniors especially, this creates a real risk. Thicker blood moves more slowly, clots form more easily, and your kidneys have to work harder to filter waste. A study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that drinking just 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning increased metabolic rate by 30% within 10 minutes. Another study from Loma Linda University tracked 20,000 adults and found that those who drank 5 or more glasses of water daily had a significantly lower risk of fatal heart attack compared to those who drank 2 or fewer. Keep a glass of water on your nightstand. Room temperature is fine, actually preferable, because cold water can sometimes cause mild cramping in an empty stomach. When you sit up after your breathing, reach for that glass. Drink it slowly, 8 to 12 ounces. You don't need to chug. Think of it this way. You're priming every cell in your body, waking your digestive system gently, and thinning your blood back to a safe, flowing consistency. Your kidneys will thank you. Your heart will thank you. 2 minutes into your morning, and you've already done more for your cardiovascular health than most people do all day. Minute 3. Move your body, but gently. Now, I want to be very clear here. I am not talking about exercise. I'm not suggesting push-ups or jumping jacks or anything that would stress your joints first thing in the morning. What I'm talking about is mobilization, waking up your muscles and joints with slow, intentional movement. Stand beside your bed, hold the edge or a sturdy chair if you need to, and do 3 simple things. First, roll your ankles in circles, 5 times each direction. Second, gently bend and straighten your knees, just halfway, like a very small squat. Third, raise your arms overhead slowly, stretch your fingers toward the ceiling, and lower them back down. Repeat that twice. Why does this matter so much for people over 60? Because overnight, synovial fluid, the lubricant inside your joints, settles and thickens. Your muscles shorten slightly while you sleep. If you go straight from bed to walking downstairs or bending to feed the dog, you're asking cold, stiff tissue to perform without preparation. That's how strains happen. That's how that weird knee twinge starts. That's how a stumble becomes a fall. Research published in the Archives of Gerontology and Geriatrics demonstrated that seniors who performed even minimal morning mobility exercises had 22% fewer musculoskeletal complaints and reported better balance throughout the day. 1 minute of gentle, purposeful movement. Your joints loosen, your balance centers activate. Your proprioception, your body's awareness of where it is in space, sharpens. You've just made every step you take for the rest of the day safer. Now let me pause here for a moment. If you're over 60, or if you're caring for a parent or grandparent who is, this information could genuinely be life-saving. I don't say that to be dramatic. I say it because the research overwhelmingly shows that small daily habits compound over decades into dramatically different health outcomes. The people who live longest aren't doing anything extraordinary. They're doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. If this is resonating with you, do me a favor. Tap that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos like this. And if someone you love could benefit from hearing this, share it with them. Sometimes the people who need this information most aren't the ones searching for it. All right, let's continue. Minute 4. Get light into your eyes. This one surprises people, but the science behind it is rock solid. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs your sleep, your hormones, your digestion, even your immune function, resets every morning through light exposure. Specifically, light entering your eyes signals your brain's suprachiasmatic nucleus to suppress melatonin production and initiate daytime hormone cascades. For seniors, this matters enormously. As we age, our circadian rhythms weaken. The signal gets fuzzier. That's why many older adults struggle with fragmented sleep, early waking, afternoon fatigue, and even depression. Morning light exposure is one of the most effective, free, and underutilized tools for correcting this. So, what does this look like practically? Open your curtains. Step onto your porch or balcony if you have one. If the weather is terrible or you're in a northern climate during winter, a 10,000 lux light therapy box positioned on your breakfast table works beautifully. You don't need to stare at the sun. Never do that. Just allow natural or bright artificial light to reach your face for 60 seconds. A landmark study from Northwestern University found that people who received the majority of their bright light exposure in the morning had significantly lower body mass indexes, better sleep quality, and fewer depressive symptoms than those whose light exposure came later in the day. 1 minute. Open the blinds. Stand near the window. Let morning do what morning was designed to do. Tell your body it's time to be alive and alert. Minute 5. Think one positive thought about the day ahead. Now, before you roll your eyes and assume this is some vague, motivational nonsense, hear me out. Neuroscience has caught up with what contemplative traditions have known for centuries. Directed positive thought physically changes brain chemistry. When you consciously choose a single intention for the day, Something as simple as, I'm going to enjoy my walk today, or I'll call my daughter this afternoon, or I'm going to notice something beautiful, your prefrontal cortex activates. Dopamine releases in small, manageable amounts. Your brain orients toward reward rather than threat. For people over 60, this is particularly powerful because of something researchers call the narrowing horizon effect. As people age, there's a natural psychological tendency to focus on loss. Loss of mobility, loss of independence, loss of people we love. That focus, when left unchecked, correlates directly with accelerated cognitive decline and increased inflammation. Yes, your thoughts can trigger inflammatory markers in your bloodstream. A study from Yale University followed over 600 adults for 23 years and found that those with positive perceptions of aging lived an average of 7.5 years longer than those with negative perceptions. 7.5 years. That's not a marginal difference, that's an entire chapter of life. So sit for a moment. Maybe you're still near that window with the light on your face. Maybe you're holding your now empty water glass, and you think of one thing. One small, specific thing you're looking forward to today. Not a grand ambition, not a resolution, just a reason to be glad you woke up. 5 minutes. You're done. Now, let me put this entire routine in perspective, because I think it's important to understand why 5 minutes matters when we're talking about decades of life. There's a concept in longevity research called biological age versus chronological age. Your chronological age is what the calendar says. Your biological age is what your cells, your telomeres, your cardiovascular system, and your brain actually reflect. Two 70-year-olds can have wildly different biological ages. One might have the arterial health of a 55-year-old. The other might have the arterial health of an 85-year-old. What separates them almost never comes down to genetics alone. The Blue Zones research, studying populations where people routinely live past 100, found that genetics account for only about 20 to 30% of longevity. The rest? Lifestyle, daily habits, rituals repeated so consistently they become invisible. 5 minutes every morning, 365 days a year, over 10 years. That's over 300 hours of accumulated self-care. 300 hours of stabilized blood pressure upon waking. 300 hours of hydrated blood flowing more freely. 300 hours of joints lubricated and balance maintained. 300 hours of circadian rhythm reinforcement. 300 hours of directed positive cognition. Those hours compound. They stack. They build biological resilience that shows up in every blood panel, every bone density scan, every cognitive assessment. Many seniors ignore the morning entirely. They rush, they skip water, they sit in dim rooms. They let the day happen to them rather than setting its tone. And many of them wonder why they feel foggy by 10 a.m., why their joints ache worse as the year goes on, why sleep keeps deteriorating. The morning isn't just the start of the day, it's the foundation. Let me address a few things I hear often. What if I wake up needing to use the bathroom urgently? Completely fair. Go. But then come back and do minutes 2 through 5. The breathing can shift to after you've returned to bed's edge or a comfortable chair. Adapt the routine. Don't abandon it. What if I have arthritis and the movement is painful? Scale it down. Even wiggling your fingers and toes, rotating your wrists, and gently turning your head side to side counts as mobilization. The goal isn't intensity. The goal is signaling your nervous system that movement is safe and welcome. What if I live alone and don't feel motivated? Write the 5 steps on an index card and tape it to your nightstand. Let the card be your accountability partner. After 2 weeks, you won't need it. The habit will carry itself. Does it have to be exactly 5 minutes? No. Some mornings it'll be 4. Some mornings you'll linger in the sunlight for 3. The structure matters more than the stopwatch. Give yourself grace, but give yourself consistency. And one more thing. Talk to your doctor about this. Print this routine out if you'd like. Bring it to your next appointment. Any physician worth their coat will encourage habits that reduce fall risk, support cardiovascular health, maintain joint mobility, regulate circadian rhythm, and promote psychological well being. There is no prescription that does all five simultaneously, but this routine does. Let's bring it all together. Minute 1, breathe. 4 slow breaths before your feet touch the ground. Stabilize blood pressure, prevent dizziness. Minute 2, hydrate. 8 to 12 ounces of room temperature water, thin the blood, wake the metabolism. Minute 3, move gently. Ankle circles, knee bends, arms overhead, lubricate joints, activate balance. Minute 4, get light. Open the curtains or use a light box. Reset your circadian clock. Improve sleep and mood. Minute 5, set an intention. One positive thought about the day. Redirect the brain toward vitality. 5 minutes, no equipment, no supplements, no gym membership, no complicated instructions. Just you, your body, and a decision to honor both every single morning. The woman in Okinawa I mentioned at the beginning, she doesn't think of her routine as longevity science. She thinks of it as respect. Respect for the body that carried her through 9 decades. Respect for the morning that keeps arriving. You deserve that same respect from yourself. If this video helped you, subscribe to this channel for more senior health content every week. Drop a comment below telling me, do you have a morning routine already, or are you going to start one tomorrow? I read every single comment and I genuinely want to hear from you. And please, share this with someone you love, a parent, a spouse, a neighbor who lives alone. 5 minutes could give them more years and more life within those years. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.